So we're going to talk about the stretching that we did today. In this one, I can be in a kneeling position on the floor, tucking under, but if that's uncomfortable for you, you can have the knee up on a bench or a box or something a little bit more elevated with a cushion underneath your knee so that you're more comfortable in this position, but the end result is the same. I'm going to be in this kind of a lunge position, and from there I'm going to tuck the hip under, so I'm getting the hip flexors opening in the front of the hip. And then from there, I'm going to shift ever so slightly forward till I feel a stretch. And I can move in and out of this and find where I can get a stretch and then just stay there and breathe. Wait till it eases up a little bit and then relax, and then I can switch and do the other side. With the hamstrings, we had the heel up on the floor. Now the other foot will be turned out 45 degrees. So I'll have this one turned out 45 degrees, and then this one I will step up on the box. And I'll have the knee slightly bent. I don't want to hyperextend the knees to put all the load in the knee, so I'll have it slightly bent. And from here, I'll square up my hips with the front. I can draw the toes up towards my shin to get a calf stretch. And then from there, it's a straight hinge. So I don't want to round the back. I don't want to think about bringing my shoulders down. I want to think about pushing my hips back and keeping my chest nice and flat and straight. My chest open and my back straight. And I should feel the stretch now in the calf and hamstring, especially if I pull my toes towards me. And just like the hip flexors, I can stay there and breathe for a little while until it eases up. And then I release and do the other side. The third one was to get a hip and glute opening or stretch. Hip opening and glute stretch. So I can sit down on a chair and I can fold one leg over the other. And then I bring this up as close to me as is comfortable. If it needs to be further away to begin with, it can be lower. As you get more mobile, you can bring this up. Find a comfortable spot where I can sit, squaring up my hips, shoulders in line. And same as before, I want this feeling of hinging forward, not rounding my back, but keeping nice and tall. And you can have the hands out in front to make that happen. And when I come forward, I make sure I'm reaching up to make sure I don't round the back. And I should feel the stretch in the side, in the glute here, and in the hip. And then if I want to expand that a little bit, I can press the knee down slightly. And I'll just hang out here. Once you've got your alignment with your spine, if you want, you can bring the hands down on your legs and just rest them there without pushing, or you put a little push on that knee and you hold that stretch until you feel that ease up. And then when you're done, relax, switch to the other side. And the last one we did, or actually we didn't have a chance to do, was it's called Happy Puppy, and it's basically an opening through the front lines of the arms and the lats and the chest, and also opening up thoracic spine. There's a number of ways we can do that. We can do it straight from the floor on the knees. So I'm going to have my hands out in front, further away from me, but my hips are over top of my knees. And then from there, I don't want to arch my low back. I want to keep that flat. And all I'm trying to do is bring my armpits closer to the floor, and I get this opening in my upper back. And I should feel the stretch all inside here and not in my low back. If that is too low, you can have your hands on the bench, knees on the floor, and do the same thing. So I don't want this arch in my lumbar spine. I'm going to have my arms out, and I'm thinking about my armpits just coming down towards the floor, and I'm getting this nice opening. And I can get a lot deeper with my hands elevated on a bench like this, so I prefer this to being on the floor anyway. And you're just going to hang out there and breathe, making sure you don't get a tilt here, but you keep this flat. Now, if being on the floor is uncomfortable for your knees, I can do the same thing on the wall. And from here, I'm going to be standing away from the wall. My knees will be slightly bent, so they're not flat out. And the same thing, I'll reach nice and high overhead. And then I bring my armpits forward towards the floor and I get that same opening. Now I don't want to crank my neck up or down. I'm just going to keep it in line with my spine. And I should get that opening in the lumbar spine. Again, no tilt in the pelvis. Keep that flat. Find that stretch in the front lines. Feel that chest opening. And then when you're done, relax, come back out. Remember that after any of these movements, you're feeling tight, just doing some loose movement through the shoulders, Twisting and turning a little bit just to ease the strain off will really help take off the intensity.